Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the 10th overall installment in the Planet of the Apes series, the sequel to War for the Planet of the Apes, what I think is the best Planet of the Apes movie. That trilogy, Rise, Dawn, War. Such an overlooked and underrated trilogy. All three of them are great. Love watching that trilogy. Several generations in the future following Caesar's reign, apes are now the dominant species and live harmoniously while humans have been reduced to living in the shadows. As a new tyrannical ape leader builds his empire, one young ape undertakes a harrowing journey that will cause him to question all he has known about the past and to make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. My initial thoughts of a new Planet of the Apes movie were very similar to how I felt about my initial thoughts for Rise of the Planet of the Apes when that was first announced. I was very skeptical, but the more and more I saw of Kingdom, the more and more I got excited for it. While it may not reach the heights of Rise, Dawn, or War, I am so happy that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is still a damn good, borderline fantastic Planet of the Apes movies. This is one of the most consistent modern franchises running today. Not a single bad installment in this recent reboot series of Planet of the Apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes still managed to blow me away as much or almost as much as the previous three films, with a satisfying continuation of this reboot series. The themes here are really about your coming of age. We follow this young ape named Noah, who I think is a great character. It's going to be hard for a lot of people to follow different characters after we just had three movies with Caesar, but when you look at Noah and his clan, the movie gives you a strong case early on to feel for them, to latch onto these characters as a whole. And Noah's a great character. It's a great coming of age story for him. He's clever, but he's so timid. He's scared. He's very unsure of himself and his place in his future until something happens and he realizes he has to do something about it and face those fears. I love that. I love that this is a movie about legacy, overcoming your fears, standing up for yourself in the face of adversity, learning right from wrong, learning what has been passed on from generations to generations. Because Caesar and his clan, Maurice and all that, they're not here anymore. This is nearly 300 years after Caesar's reign. Caesar still has a presence in the movie. It's the through line, the connection to the previous trilogy with this character named Raka, who's one of the best characters in this entire movie, that really shows Noah just who Caesar was and what Caesar's teachings were. And Caesar's teachings are a major theme throughout this entire movie. I'm glad that we had this through line and this connection to that trilogy that carries over here because it makes that trilogy feel more poignant. It makes it feel more important. And bringing that up in a sequel to that trilogy makes this movie feel like it's part of the legacy that Caesar left behind. Because of that, Kingdom feels like it fits in seamlessly with the previous three movies. The CGI, once again, is top notch. They go out of their way to make sure that the apes in these movies look as photorealistic as possible. There are so many instances in this movie, and in War, but in this movie as well, where I felt like we were just watching apes being filmed. Actual live apes. That's how good the CGI is and the acting from the human actors wearing mocap suits and the visual effects, everything. Everybody involved should get nominations. This will compete with Dune 2 for best visual effects at the Oscars. And honestly, blockbusters that have budgets of $250 million and upwards, please take notes. I think this was only 150 million or 160 million for a budget, and the visual effects look that good. How does a movie that costs almost 110 million less look so much better? Because the visual effects artists are given the time, the resources, and the tools. And kudos to them. They did a fantastic job once again. There are so many strong characters in here. I've already talked about Noah. I really like this human character, May, that he and Raka meet on their journey. She has a purpose. She represents something from the humans that may or may not be so out of touch with the current world and the landscape of the apes' homeworld. And I love that this expands the pathos and the mythos, expands the world of the Planet of the Apes a little bit, where they're living. Everything with buildings are overgrown, bridges have collapsed, they're rusted, cruise ships have landed on shores and they're rusted out and used as bases. But May is a great character, but I think one of the strongest villains, even though he's not as good as Koba, but one of the strongest villains that this series has is Proximus Caesar. And here's why. He shows up a little over an hour into the movie. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes, which could be a detriment to a film, but his presence is felt throughout the first half and insane amounts throughout the second half. Proximus Caesar is such a tyrannical villain, and you just look at him and you're like, that is everything that today's society is. He's a villain that believes that there is one right thing from Caesar's teachings, and that Caesar's teachings provided one dominant viewpoint. And he is instilling that on his clan. He is building himself up to be a false god, a prophet, a messiah. He has this cult like thing and people bow to him. That's exactly how we look at certain celebrities and other people in the world today. And I thought that that was amazing, just twisting words around to make it look like you are the one and the only. That's what made Proximus Caesar such a great villain to me, even if he has limited screen time sometimes. He's only got about 4 or 5 scenes, but his presence, it is felt, man. Wes Ball directs it this time around, and he's got a knack for action scenes. I mean, he comes from the Maze Runner movies that essentially he turned into action movies. His action is very quick, but he also does a great job of using plain landscapes and makes the action look exciting. What do I mean by that? Well, for instance, there will be many action sequences in the middle of a field where it just looks like a grassy plain with trees in the background and there's nothing else around. But he'll still be able to make the action exciting. So not only do we have good characters, not only do we have a good story, but we also have great action. The characters are what made the previous three Planet of the Apes movies so great, with the story as poignant as the characters in that movie, with the action coming second. That's what this movie understands, and that's why it feels like it has the DNA of the previous three films in here. I enjoyed the story a lot, and for the most part, the writing is top notch. But if I have one issue with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes that prevents it from being as good as those previous films, it is one or two choices with the writing in terms of character decisions. They're not bad decisions at all, but I just would have went down a different route as opposed to what these character decisions were. I thought that they took the easy way out at times, and then the ending. I have some questions because it's not that I didn't understand it, but I was just led to believe one thing, and then the ending shows me something else. And now I'm totally kind of like, okay, give me some answers now. I guess that's great. The movie did its job. It's making me want more, but I just have some questions regarding that. But everything else I really loved. I mean, Proximus Caesar's a great villain. Became a villain because he didn't get enough bananas. Characters are great. The world building's great. The action's great. The story is really good. I cannot wait to talk about this more. I'm going to do a spoiler review very soon for this. I enjoyed Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes with a full bucket of popcorn. Thank God, because I was so skeptical that this would tarnish the legacy of those previous three movies. That trilogy is so good, but luckily it doesn't. This is a very consistent series so far, and I can't wait to see where they go next. So if you guys have seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.